Hello, and welcome to. Oh God! Oh no! The pain!
Distance learning.
We are going to look a little bit at. My eyebrows going crazy. We're going to look a little bit at some intro Photoshop stuff today. If I'm glancing over there, it's because I'm looking at the website to make sure I am doing stuff correctly. I'm going to start out with cropping, looking at review how it works, and then look at perspective cropping, and a little bit of workspace organization. So there are a bunch of files for week 2, right? You've downloaded them. I'm going to go ahead and I put them all in Lightroom, right? If you've got your 172 catalog open, that's a good place to put them. You don't have to, but being able to round trip them will be make your life a lot easier. It's also going to allow us to do some layer naming stuff that will be good. So here we are in Lightroom, and the file that I want to work with first is this file called Perspective Crop Vatican. I'm going to hit Command E to bring it into Photoshop. I'm going to edit the original. I don't want any copies or Lightroom adjustments or whatever. Okay, so pops up in Photoshop. I'm going to go ahead and hit F for full screen on the keyboard, hide all that other crap back there. Remember, you can cycle through everything's gone to floating window to regular old hiding the stuff I don't want to see. Now, my Photoshop right now is a mess, right? I've got palettes and things all over the place, garbage. So I'm going to go up here to Window, Workspace. I could go to Brad's default workspace right off the bat, but I'm going to go to Essentials, which is what I'm already in. And then I'm going to go down here and say Reset Essentials. And that's going to sort of snap everything back to where Photoshop wants it to be. I'm using this one because you guys all have access to it. If I use Brad's, whatever, you wouldn't have access to that. But there's a bunch of stuff in here I don't want, right? Libraries, drag it out, stupid, gone. Gradients, no. Patterns, garbage. History, yeah, I want history. I'm gonna pull it out here and make it part of this thing right here. And then what else do I want in here? Any other things? You can go up to Window and histogram. Let's put that in there, and I will just dock my histogram and my navigator up there, and actually color and swatches. Sorry, see ya. Okay, so I have now got properties, adjustments, history, layers, channels, paths, and then my toolbar over there. That's kind of the way I like it. If you want to put yours the way that you like it, you can then go to Window, Workspace, and New Workspace, save whatever your layout is as something so that you can always pop it right back. So we've got this Vatican picture. Kind of dumb. Let's go ahead and look at how we crop. So I'm going to hit the crop tool by hitting C for crop on the keyboard, not like Lightroom where it's R for crop because Lightroom is stupid. C for crop, just like every other program in the entire world. Lightroom. You can also go over here to the toolbar, right, and get your crop tool there. If you can't find the toolbar, try hitting tab. You may have hit tab accidentally and hidden it. If I go over here to that crop thing, looks like a little spaceship, but it isn't. If I click and hold, it will show me the other tools that are there. So if you hit C on the keyboard, and instead of getting this thing that is the crop tool, you got some other tool selected, that's just the last tool that was on top. Let's go there, click and hold, get the crop tool. So we've got the crop tool, awesome, step one, good job. Let's go up here to the top of our menu bar, and if you look here, there is something that I call the contextual menu. So for each tool, right, I'll choose a different tool, you can see that this thing up here across the top changes. If I go back here, boop, again, changes. So it is going to reflect whatever tool you have and have specific controls for that tool. Super helpful. So I've got the crop tool, and it has specific tools for the crop tool. Now, I've cheated a little bit because, I mean, I'm the instructor. I can't cheat. I just do things. If you do it, you're cheating. I've set a couple of things that may be different from what your defaults are, so let's take a look at those. I've gone over here to this gear menu. I've clicked on that. I've said use classic mode, because the non-classic mode, and I'm not just saying this because I'm an old person, the non-classic mode sucks. So we check classic mode. We said enable crop shield, right? And then I said opacity, and I made it some non-100% number. Basically, we want to be able to crop and see what it is that is outside of our crop, but it'll be dimmed down a little bit so we can tell that, yes, indeed, we have cropped something. I've also made sure that delete crop pixels is not checked, and that content aware is similarly not checked. You may be able to go over here. It may have some kind of ratio set up by default. That is saying, hey, when I crop it in this particular proportion, right? Square, 5:7, 2:3, 8:10, whatever it is. If you have something over there, we don't want that yet. Just go over here and hit clear, boop, and it goes away. So that is all awesome. So let's try and draw a crop box. Sweet. So I drew a box, right? The stuff outside of it is grayed out. I can grab these handles and stretch them around to determine what I want my crop to be. Once I have the crop that I want, I can hit return on my keyboard, or if I am buttony, I can come up here and hit this little checkbox. I don't know who the hell hits that, but if it's you, do it. And there you go. I have cropped it. If I go back and hit the crop tool again, see on the keyboard, draw that box around it. When I come out here, right, I can crop back out, and I should be able to see more of my image. Now, why, when I do that, I am not seeing that whole image outside of there? Honestly, I'm not sure. Used to be able to do that in previous versions of Photoshop. Can't do it now. Maybe there's some button somewhere you can check, but I'm not going to find it. Okay, cool. So that's how the crop works. Now, having done that, let's undo it. You don't want to hit undo like Command Z, Command Z, Command Z. Waste of time. Come over here to history. If you don't have history, window, history. History is possibly the most important thing you can have in Photoshop. History is what happens when you screw up. It allows you to go back and undo your screw up. So I'm going to come over here to my history palette, right, which I docked with properties and adjustments, but you can put it wherever the hell you want. And I'm going to go all the way back to the very beginning to open. Right, undid all that shit. All right, so we've done that. Let's go back and we'll do a perspective crop. So that was regular crop, right? Regular old crop. It's awesome. You draw a crop box, crops whatever it is. You can also, if you go outside of that a little bit, you can rotate your crop box. That's a good time. Hit escape, cancel that out. I'm going to come back over here to that crop tool, click and hold, and I'm going to come down here to perspective crop. Now, perspective crop, I'm going to draw that same box around the whole thing. If I go and start dragging my corners, you'll see that it acts very differently from how the regular crop tool did. Remember when we had the regular crop tool and I drew a box, right? If I grab the corner, right, it stayed a rectangle. Here, when I grab perspective crop and I drag a rectangle corner, sorry, when I drag a corner, instead this whole thing goes all slanty. Perspective crops allows us to say, hey, I'm going to draw my sidelines where, like, parallel to things that should be vertical. Draw them there, hit return, boop, and it'll snap them vertical. So let's go ahead and try that out. You'll see right now, by the way, this like little tiny annoying 1 that's right there. That's because I cycled through all these crop tools, one of them which is the slice tool, and it's showing me that this is slice number 1. What does that mean? Doesn't matter, right? But annoys me. Let's get rid of it. I'm going to go to View, Show, Uncheck Slices. Boom, gone. All right, so we're here with perspective crop. I selected the whole thing, and now I'm just going to drag this line over, and I'm looking to try and get it to be parallel to this thing that I want to be vertical, right? So there is a pilaster back there, and I'm going to drag it to that. I'm going to drag this one over parallel to that end of that wall. Cool. And I'm going to go ahead and hit return. I could also go up here and hit that checkbox. Sweet. So there you go, right? So it basically stretched that out so that those lines that I had selected are essentially vertical. So that's perspective correcting using the crop tool. The perspective crop tool, not the regular crop tool, perspective crop tool. We will later learn some more effective ways to do that, but if you have a little bit of like some wonkiness in there, using this is a great way to be able to fix those issues. Right now though, right, I've got my perspective corrected. It still feels a little squatty. I would kind of like to stretch this up, right? There's a lot of like empty sky up there that's not really doing anything for me. So I'm going to jump ahead a little bit and do one more tool, which is free transform. So free transform, you can get to it by edit, and right there, free transform. It's not, I can't select it right now. I'll tell you why in a sec. But that's where you would get it in the menu, or it's Command T on the keyboard. First off, I need to select something. So I'm going to say select all, Command A, then I'm going to hit Command T for free transform, or again, I could have gone up to edit, free transform. I'm going to Command minus to zoom out a little bit, and then I'm going to grab the top of this and I'm going to transform it up. Now, as I do that, you'll see that it transforms everything, right? It doesn't distort it. It's just scaling the whole thing up. Now, if you were using an earlier version of Photoshop before the 2020 release, that would not be the default action. If I grabbed this in an earlier one and pulled it up, it would distort it and just stretch it vertically rather than proportionally scaling it up. In the earlier versions, you hold down Shift to make it proportionally scale. They have changed that, and now if I hold down Shift, it is going to allow me to distort. I want to distort. I want to sort of have this thing come up, get this nice relationship with this guy up here, take up some of that sky. This looks much better to me. I'm going to go ahead and hit return to commit to it. And there we have our better, I think, though still not particularly interesting, photograph of whatever this building is in the Vatican. So there you go, perspective crop, free transform, regular crop. Use those. We're going to use them a little bit when we get into our work that we're doing today. But next up, we're going to go into pixel layers and how those work in the next clip.